Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
Very much. Please continue.
Okay. So hello everyone, and a very good evening to all our guests. On behalf of ISTT Delhi chapter, I extend a very warm welcome to all our guests. Today, as we are coming closer to the end of a Golden Jubilee year, we are delighted to come with a yet another very relevant topic for the trainers fraternity by a distinguished speaker and a National Council member, Mr. Parimal Gandhi. And the topic, as you know, is really unique, spirituality and learning and development. Friends, whenever we talk about competencies or qualities of a trainer, the one distinctive attribute which comes to the surface is passion, a desire to make a difference in the trainee's life, help him to excel in his professional and personal life, be an enabler. And that is exactly what I discovered in my continuous journey of being a trainer. And gradually over the years, I discovered, that my profession is taking me towards the mission of my life, which is making transformation available to all. So today, we will learn from Mr. Parimal Gandhi, who has discovered many dimensions of spirituality while contributing in the profession of learning and development. He will be speaking on, sharing his perspective, his views about spirituality in learning and development. So with these few words, I would now like to call upon a chapter chairperson, Mr. Mukesh Jain, to give his welcome address. Mr. Jain.
Thank you very much, Pratima ji, and good evening, friends. I, on behalf of Management Committee of ISTT Delhi chapter, welcome you all to this Golden Jubilee evening lecture by none other than our own Mr. Parimal Gandhi on spirituality in learning and development. I'm sure you will be, reached enough after getting his word of wisdoms and, personal experiences. So whatever he is talking from the inner heart. So that is very, very important, and that is a unique part. So I'm sure you will learn a lot of good things here in this evening lecture. And I also welcome all my seniors, national past presidents, NC members, chapter chairpersons from various chapters of ISTD, members from IMA, NIPM, NHRD, ISTD, my senior colleagues and friends, students from ISTD Diploma, students from NDIM, BIMTech and IMI. So I welcome everybody, and I wish a very good evening to all of you and lot of learnings. Thank you very much. Over to Pratima ji.
Sharma from New Delhi Institute of Management, our partner in this webinar. And I request Ms. Sucharita to introduce Dr. Sharma.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to introduce Dr. Radha Sharma. Radha R. Sharma is Executive Alumnus of Harvard Business School, certified in CSR by World Bank Institute and British Council and New Academy of Business, UK, and has advanced certification in MBTI and Emotional Intelligence and Sustainability Mindset. She is Dean, Research and Industry, Academia Linkages at New Delhi Institute of Management, New Delhi. Prior to this, she has been with Management Development Institute, MDI, Gurgaon for 18 plus years as Dean, Research and Centers of Excellence, Raman Munjal Hero Motorcorp, Chair Professor, Chair, Center for Positive Scholarship for Organizational Sustainability and Editor, Vision, the Journal of Business Perspective. She is a visiting professor to various international universities and business schools. She serves as HR Ambassador for India and Ambassador for gender diversity in organizations at the International Academy of Management with members from 120 countries. She has published 16 books with reputed publishers and over 150 research papers. She has made significant contributions to OB and HRD through her research supported by WHO, Polish Academy of Sciences, Humanistic Management Network, Academy of Management USA, among others, and through training and management development, public, private, and government sectors involving thousands of executives. She got Best Paper Kamala Award, IGTD 2003 and 2013. She is recipient of 4 gold medals. She received Hind Ratan Award 2015 for outstanding services, achievements, and contributions abroad. Best Symposium Award 2018 at Academy of Management 2018 Books Award, scholarly finalist for her book on executive burnout by International Humanistic Management Association. IHMA Best Case Award 2017 at second Asia Pacific Conference on Business and Business Sustainability. Best Paper Award 2013, AIMS International Outstanding Management Researcher Award 2008, Best Faculty Award, Excellence in Research 2007 and 2006 at MDA, among others. We welcome you, Madam. Over to Dr. Radha Sharma.
Thank you very much. It's indeed a pleasure and privilege to be part of this event. I'm a life member of ISTD and a National Council member. Thank you, Dr. Pratima, and thank you, Mukeshji, for giving me this opportunity. I thank the entire managing team of ISTD Delhi chapter for giving me this opportunity. In fact, if I'm given 2 minutes, I would like to share, I have a great passion for spirituality. And maybe when I summarize, I'll talk more about it. So India is a cradle of spirituality, and I've been pursuing spirituality, in my teaching and research. I offered a PhD level course on spirituality and human behavior at MDI Gurgaon. And the scholars who went through this course, they not only completed the PhD, they are teaching at leading institutions and IIT and TISS and many other institutions. Recently, I completed a research project supported by Ministry of HRD, which was on, again, ancient wisdom. And I looked at various ancient scriptures and tried to gain insight from the wisdom contained therein. So I will keep it short now because we would like to listen to the speaker of this evening. And I'll share other things later. Thank you very much.
Dr. Sharma, you would like to introduce the speaker?
That's your prerogative. That's your prerogative. Go ahead, please.
Okay, all right. Okay. Introduce Mr. Parimal Gandhi. So Mr. Parimal Gandhi, most of us, in ISTD, know him. Mr. Parimal Gandhi in the learning and development profession since more than 45 years. Mr. Gandhi is a result-oriented, innovative presenter and author. By now, he has trained over 110,000 participants and 1,500 trainers. His abiding interest lies in the application of timeless philosophies to human life for holistic learning, development, performance, and happiness. With academic background in chemical engineering, literature, and several international certifications, he orchestrated heartfelt learning experiences in the area of interest. His areas of interest are leadership, spirituality, teams, custom service, innovation, time management, and trainer training. His client lists range from Fortune 500 companies to small and tiny industries and families. He has spoken at several international conferences and works in India, Mexico, and the US. He has received a Lifetime Achievement and the We Care Foundation Award for facing cancer 4 times with indomitable courage and resilience. So with this introduction, I welcome Mr. Gandhi. Over to you, sir.
Sir, please unmute. Parimal sir, please unmute.
Thank you very much, Preetima ji. As usual, I have a lot to say. So let me launch directly into my presentation. Bear with me as I pull it up. I hope that all of you are able to see and hear this.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Preetima ji, Mr. Mukesh Jain, and all of you at the Delhi chapter for having me over. And also thank you all of you in the audience. I last saw a number around 200. So thank you all of you for coming out on a Friday evening to hear my thoughts. I would like to begin, as I always do, with a benediction.
259.
I beg your pardon?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's 260 participants.
261. I see. We have 261 participants. Delighted to welcome all of you. And I would like to begin with a benediction. I begin all my sessions with a prayer every day. And just 2 lines. Please close your eyes.
Tera mangal, tera mangal, tera mangal hoye re, sabka mangal, sabka mangal, sabka mangal hoye re.
I would like to go into a poll, and it's a very simple poll. It's about spirituality and corporate training, and the question I'm asking all of you is, does spirituality have a place in corporate training? I'm going to keep the poll open for just 1 minute. So I would like all of you to be very fast with your fingers. You have only 2 choices. You can say yes, it does, or you can say no, it doesn't. And so here we go. Please take part, everybody. I can see the numbers going up, 74, 75. People have responded, 80s we have hit. We crossed 100. Preetima, this is a phenomenal audience. Such wonderful, quick participation.
That's right. And there are many yeses on the chat box also.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
You can put your questions on the chat box. You can put your comments there. We've saved about 15 minutes at the end of the session to take those up. And Preetima ji is going to farm them out to me.
Right.
Fabulous. We have 128. And we will end the polling now. Let me share the results with you. The overwhelming majority of 93% people say that spirituality does have a place in corporate training. Thank you very much for participating. Let me move on. I'm going to ask you the same question at the end, time permitting. I present these ideas as a student of spirituality. I cannot claim to be a teacher of spirituality because that takes several lifetimes of study, but I am a student. I confess to having made 2 mistakes. To my friends, I sent out a poster which said, spirituality in learning and development, how to bring God into the conference room as your co-trainer. I want to make a clarification. God is the chairman, the managing director, and the principal trainer. We are co-trainers because he or she, we don't know whether God is he or she. So we are co-trainers by his command. The second clarification I want to make is with the topic itself. It's not spirituality in learning and development. I would like to correct the topic and say spirituality is learning and development. And yes, whether learning and development is spirituality is up to the trainer of the day. I want to share with you my first experience with, real experience with spirituality. And that was at the Sampurna Jeevan Trust here in Baroda. I attended a couple of sessions 3 years ago. I had been a trainer 42 years. By the second session, I realized that all my life, I had conducted great training, but on the wrong topics. I wish that for 45 years, I had taught spirituality. As you get exposed to it, more and more, you will realize the same thing. Please take 2 views of what follows for your own self and for your students or participants. How do I define learning and development? Well, it's helping participants or students to discover and deliver their very best. And what is spirituality? Well, it's the search for the ultimate truth through our thoughts, our words, our realizations, and contributions in this life. These are my personal definitions. Now, spirituality in this subcontinent holds teachers to an extremely high standard, which is why we have Guru Purnima or Teachers' Day. And here are some thoughts about the Guru. You are Brahma, you are Vishnu, you are Mahesh, you are Sakshat Parabrahma. It is the highest of high standards. Tasmai Shri Guru Ve Namah. Second is Kabir Ji, a very well-known doha. Guru Govind dou khade kaake lagu paaye. Balihari Guru aapni Govind diyo bataye. I will first bow the Guru, because it is because of him that I am seeing God. It is to these high standards that we are held. We've evolved over the years, and we've evolved in agriculture, we've evolved in the way we dress. Although if, the recent debates on whether or not to wear torn jeans are to be believed, the man on the right is trying to get back to the man on the left. But our dwellings and our construction have improved, our transportation systems have improved, we are going into space routinely. Medical science has dramatically improved, keeps people like me alive. But the World Trade Center bombings were done by a qualified engineer. We have fought war after war after war. These organizations, in this case ISIS, is headed by doctors. So many of these so-called literate people are in jail. Literate mankind has exterminated several species entirely. And some people have earned enough to last 25 generations, while others go hungry. We pollute the environment and we use energy in a way that is causing an ecological disaster. This is literate mankind. If we look at our individual lives, conflict management is one of the most popular training programs. Why? Our homes, the way we drive, road rage is a common phenomenon in our urban megapolises. We are alone, we are angry, although we are literate. We chase money for which we will have no use. We are losing our values. We are stressed, physically we are unwell, we are suffering mentally. Depression is on the rise, claiming more and more people by the millions, and we are in constant conflict. The coronavirus is a product of literate mankind. And it is not enough to know that it kills. These are my fellow Gujaratis at the new stadium in Ahmedabad 3 days ago, enjoying the match without masks. These are literate people. They can afford to buy a seat in the stadium. I think this is what mankind is up to. Therefore, there is a missing piece. What is that missing piece? There are two sides to the coin. There is material knowledge. We are great at material knowledge. We are brilliant at material knowledge. As compared to our forefathers, we are living in the lack of comfort. But what is missing is spiritual knowledge. The other side of the coin is dark. The Shastras exhort us to give importance to both branches of knowledge. They are not saying give up everything and go after the Vedas and Upanishads and the Gita and the Brahma Sutra. They are telling us it's half and half. Which is why you have Vedas which talk about how to go about gathering wealth, and you have the Upanishads which is at the ant of the Veda, therefore Vedanta, which talk about spiritual knowledge. Both go together. And it is our spiritual duty to earn and take care of our needs and those of our dependents. A lot of people feel that spirituality means I leave everything and go sit on a mountain peak and meditate. Far from it, that would be shirking our duty. And therefore, profit is not a dirty word. Abuse is a dirty word. Use of resources is not a dirty word. Perhaps what we don't realize, and there is this beautiful song from the movie Ashirwad, Manna Day. Enjoy the words with me.
जीवन से लंबे है बंधु जीवन से लंबे है बंधु ये जीवन के रास्ते ये जीवन के रास्ते एक पल थम के रोना होगा एक पल चलना हंस के ये जीवन के रास्ते ये जीवन के रास्ते
When time permits, do go through the entire song. राहों से राही का रिश्ता कितने जन्म पुराना. So we have to realize and plan and think far beyond this current life. In the Rishi Shishya tradition, there are always questions and answers. And in the wonderful Mundaka Upanishad, you have a student, Shaunaka, who goes directly to the point and he asks for a shortcut. Kasminna bhagavo vigyate sarvamidam vigyatam bhavatiti. What is that by knowing of which all becomes known? And you get a response from Rishi Angiras, which says there are two kinds of knowledge. The higher knowledge or Paravidya and the other knowledge or Aparavidya. All of us are Parangat, experts at Aparavidya. It is Paravidya which deserves our attention. We are imbalanced. There are very few organizations and institutions that systematically teach spirituality. And so I was delighted when Dr. Radha spoke about offering PhDs linking spirituality. And my compliments to you, madam, and to MDI and to all universities that offer these courses. So learning spirituality is like an extracurricular activity. भाई वो क्या कर रहा है? And someone says as a sneer, oh, Gita padhne gaya. It's not the main thing. It is something to be done on the side, and it is something that you do after you retire. The horse has escaped from the stable and we are trying to lock the doors. Some fundamentals, simply put. And it's all simple. You know, those of you that haven't really dabbled in spirituality, haven't got your feet wet, let me tell you, you learn some 50 to 70 words. That's your investment. You know, even if you want to learn classical music, or you want to even learn to listen to it, you have to know what is rag, what is sur, what is gharana, what is tal. right? That's the terminology that you need to know to make sense. Similarly, in spirituality, you need to know a few words, and thereafter, it's like an expressway. You can go on your own, but at every nukkad, at every corner in this blessed country of ours, there is somebody teaching spirituality. They say that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so, invoking the spiritual being in ourselves and our participants is the way to go. At the Academy, we routinely bring spirituality into no matter which subject we teach. And surprisingly, even in Mexico, we could see students paying rapt attention when we meandered into spirituality. So what, according to me, is who is a spiritual trainer? The spiritual trainer studies, teaches, and is a role model or an example of prioritizing the eternal over the transient. You are not in marketing, you are not in manufacturing, you are not in IT, you are not in finance, you are in learning and development. You can focus on this. It is somebody who is an example of connecting all work to the Atma and the Paramatma. I'll get just a little bit of time to elaborate this. The practice of Nishkam Karma and Samarpan. Seeing life in sattvic terms. Seeing life with wisdom. Choosing Shreya, the more difficult path, over prayer, the easier path. The more difficult path which leads to something that is eternal. And who prioritizes bliss, that is Anand, over happiness, Sukha, which is transient. You see, we were, are, and will always be around. We've been here since the beginning of time, and we are going to be here until the end of time. So this is not a railway platform relationship. Where somebody on the railway platform sells you something, the train moves, you are gone, that person is gone. We just come in, change the bodies as required, get back, come back, and continue our journeys. We are no fly-by-night operators, and therefore no shortcuts for us. I want to talk a little bit about karma. This is something that can take half a day to teach. I hope that those of you that are not already into it will give it time. It's a fascinating subject. There is Vikam karma, which is popularly known as Pap. There is Sakam karma, which is transactional. I do something good for you in the hope that you will do something good for me. It's transactional. And then there is Nishkam karma. I do it because it is meant to be done. I do it because it's my duty. I'm not really expecting anything in return. Now, in the spiritual journey, only Nishkam karma does not contribute to a return ticket. I do pap or I do sakam karma, I'm going to come back. I do nishkam karma, I will still come back, but the load will keep reducing till I no longer need to come back. That means that all work that we do must be nishkam karma. Now, when we talk about nishkam karma, does it mean that I don't take a salary? The answer is no. I have every right to sustain myself. So, as a trainer, if I'm working on my own, I'm a freelance trainer, I charge fees. But it doesn't matter whether the session is free or the session is highly paid for, I still deliver the best results that I'm capable of. All of nature, apart from human beings, only does nishkam karma. A leaf in a tree, give it sunshine, give it carbon dioxide, it will take its own chlorophyll, convert carbon dioxide into oxygen, give carbon to the plant. The plant will sustain it, give it nutrition. It will continue doing its job. And therefore, once we understand what it is that makes us tick, what are our strengths, what are our talents, we harness them into the work that we do, and that's it. That's all we keep doing. It's such a joy. And we do it with samarpan. You know, you've seen so many times batsmen who reached 97 and couldn't get a century. They were so set, decided to hit a 4 or 6 at the end and, complete the century in style, and they got caught. Did they deserve it? The answer is no. The result really isn't in our hands. So why bother about it? Why get distracted by it? Whatever we do it with a sense of dedication, with a sense of surrender. I have done my best, no matter what result comes. Something fascinating that I learned about the creation of the universe. In the beginning, there was nothing and there was no one. And there was only the Paramatma. And now he creates the universe. So where did the material of the universe come from? It came from within himself or herself. So what are you and I, and what is the universe all around? That is why when they named that final particle, the God particle, they were hitting the nail on the head. We are all God particles. It is like a spider that's creating a web. Where does the material of the web come from? It comes from within the spider. And therefore we are all, that is why there is this fabulous shloka, Purnamada Purnamidam. We are going from completeness to completeness. Kabir ji says, "Boond jo pada samudra mein, so jane sab hoye." Everybody knows a drop that falls into the ocean. Samudra sama boond mein, when the ocean is in the drop, bujhe birla koi birla hi wo janta hai that the ocean is also in the drop. The feeling, therefore, that I am different from anyone or anything is a divine illusion. I am not different from you, you are not different from me. And that is why you have this beautiful, the single word for which Adi Shankaracharya will be known for times immemorial. Advait. We are not two. I'm coming to the application of this in the corporate world in a minute. There's a story that the Dalai Lama ordered a pizza. And the man making the pizza said, "What do you want me to put on it?" The Dalai Lama said, "Make me one with everything." In other words, remove the illusion that I am not everything. And therefore, God doesn't make garbage. His quality control is incredible. All of us are at different stages in our journeys. And so that irritating, horrible participant is also, poor fellow, in his own journey. Need to help him along. God doesn't make garbage. Some of us feel small about ourselves. Please realize God doesn't make garbage. Nothing and nobody is garbage. So can we help our participants to realize the divinity in them? When we say namaste, the commonest greeting, we are saying, I bow to the divinity in you. And help them to express it in their work. Now, talk a little bit about the ego, the immersion of the I, the identity into the supreme consciousness. Really, that's the ultimate goal. I stop being I, तेरे जलवे अब मुझे हरसू नजर आने लगे, काश ये भी हो कि मुझ में तू नजर आने लगे. So now apply this to teamwork. What are we asking for? Immersion of the identity into the team to achieve a purpose higher than the self. But when we form a team, what do we say? Report for a meeting at so and so time. Where is the higher purpose in this? When I feel that I'm contributing to a higher purpose, I'm automatically motivated. So can we reword? Can we rewrite? Can we explain? Can we persuade? Can we present? And make people see that their work is important? Can we make that stone cutter who's being paid on a piece rate realize that he's building a temple that people will come and communicate with God? We are one. We are one. Now, speak about the ego, the trainer. I have been through this myself and I've learned. I know something you don't. And we are not stupid enough to ever come out and say this, but it's in the back of the head. Let me teach you. I'm okay, you are not okay. You don't even know this. Which school are you from? Which college are you from? The education in our time as if the product then was superior to the product now. You know, we come programmed with the knowledge of the universe because we are the universe, we just don't know it yet. Particularly in the soft skills arena, there is nothing that my participants do not already know or have not experienced. We can't teach anyone anything. This is Galileo. We can only help them to discover it within themselves. As trainers, this is the position that we want to take. This is where we want to come from. And so making participants feel inferior impedes the learning process. The worst thing would be if they agreed with you and believed you. Can you imagine the lasting damage that we would be doing? And motivation. As he just said, I am everything and I am everybody. So how can you possibly motivate me with anything when I know that innately all of it is mine? All of it is mine. Which is why the billionaires keep working. They think that the void that they feel within themselves will be filled by more money. At some point, like Azim Premji or Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, they realize that all this stuff that they've collected is no use, they can't take it with them. कफन को जेब नहीं होता और अलमारी और कब्र में अलमारी नहीं होती. And so they start giving. So what do we motivate with? We motivate with love for work. We motivate with expression of talent, innate talents, God-given talents. And therefore, according to me, the two noblest corporate functions are learning and development and corporate social responsibility. Of course, the others produce, but these are the noblest. Just a recent survey conducted last month, some 35,000 respondents. Globally, 75% of workers have expressed a preference to work for organizations that will make a positive contribution to society. According to a new survey by PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, which polled 32,500 workers in 19 countries, this was especially acute in India with 90%. So can we drum in how we are contributing to humanity, how we are contributing to the community? Let's focus on the service that we are doing to our customers. It doesn't matter if I'm selling conveyors. How can I serve by making sure that they consume the least electricity, that they are eco-friendly? Let profit be a byproduct. An important byproduct. Money is a means. This is at the personal level. It is not an end in itself. Beautiful thought. The money that I leave behind is work that I need not have done. So, as trainers, can we add spirituality to whatever we teach? Here are some thoughts. Begin training sessions every day with prayers. I have done it for the last 30 years. I never ask for permission. I have done it for government organizations, PSUs, private companies, multinationals, families. Nobody has ever said, Mr. Gandhi, why do you begin with a prayer? Every morning, we begin with a prayer. Now, I am sensitive, and therefore I go through the list of participants. I identify my participants from different religions, and I will have a Sikh says Ek Omkar, and it sends reverberations through me. I will have a Muslim participant say his Bismillah Rahman Rahim. And Jains will say the Navkar mantra. Parsis will say their Ahura Mazda prayer. So I make sure that they come out and they speak. Sometimes they hesitate. I tell them, you will do it tomorrow. Anybody, many a times you have 4 or 5 prayers. The beginning takes long. But that's the purpose of all this, isn't it? Let's help organizations and persons, individuals, to set up their vision, mission, and values. What the heck are we doing and why the heck are we doing it? What's the purpose? I always feel very happy when I'm called upon to help an organization set up vision, mission, and values. And those companies have lasted longer. Set soft and hard goals. So in other words, when I set goals for the year, I set goals in terms of the number of participants and the number of trainers that I would like to train in the year. When I do work for HDFC many years ago, I used to tell them, these are not files, these are dwellings. These are family homes. Can you please set your goals in terms of the number of homes that you will help build? And it is possible to set soft goals in every area and then convert that soft goal into a hard goal in terms of revenue. That is also required to be done because these are commercial organizations. People see, even managing directors and owners see the purpose of this exercise because they would themselves like to feel that they are doing something meaningful. This is so critical. Advocate environmentally sustainable practices. You are the conscience keeper. As a trainer, as a learning and development professional, you are the conscience keeper in the organization. Others will not think about this. And our job is to seed thoughts. We must not get tired. If it is a good thought, if it is something that needs to be done, let us not hesitate to repeat it in multiple different ways. Someday the seed will bear fruit. Add to the annual calendar work for the sake of the love of work. There will be some people who love the work and are happy to do it. There will be others who do it because they have no other choice. Can we help them to start loving their work? And let's teach Karma Charita. You know, this is a word I have coined. I was doing a training program for Air India and, being a public sector unit, they do everything in English and Hindi. We were going for lunch and on the cafeteria, they had written dining hall and Karmachari Bhojanalay. Now, all of you must have experienced this, that when you come out of a training session, You are hypersensitive. Yes, I knew that the word employee means karmachari and vice versa. But in that moment, the word karmachari struck me. कर्म के हिसाब से आचार करने वाला employee, someone who works for a salary. This is the employee. This is the dictionary meaning. Someone who works for a salary. Versus that karmachari is someone who understands his karma and works accordingly. It's a heavy spiritual term. I'd much rather be a karmachari than an employee. And we've designed a training program around it. And it's very well received always. Let's teach spirituality, frank and straightforward, voluntarily. Let's make it simple. Let's not complicate it. It's easy to learn. It's easy to imbibe. It is not difficult. It is not rocket science. Anyway, all of us are programmed with it. Let's teach yoga, because that's the practical aspect of spirituality and meditation. We are born in this land. This is our right. No matter which religion we pursue, whether we believe in God or we don't believe in God. A gram of practice is better than a ton of talk. So please determine you in your area of work, how you are going to bring this, make this happen. I would like to take the poll again. Alok ji, if you can help me. The second poll is the same question which I'm asking you. Anyway, you had already hit 94%. Let's see what you now have to say. Please take part. Pritima ji, we have 293 participants. 94. Hit it, folks. Come on, come on, come on. 75. Let's go to 200 at least. Everyone, please take part. Hit the yes and no buttons. $95. Let's not get stuck there. We scored a century. Very good. Okay, we've crossed a minute. So I will take this as a representative sample. We have 93% saying yes, it has a place. There are 7% who are saying no, it's not. And I would love to, have them open up in the Q&A session, which is to follow, and tell me why not. So I'm going to end the polling here and share the results with you. 93% say yes, so the number is not changed. And 7% still believe that spirituality does not have a place in corporate training. Okay. Again, thank you very much. And here are my contact particulars if you'd like to get in touch with me for any reason whatsoever.
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Gandhi. It's time for Q&A now. Okay, so we have received 2-3 questions. So the first question, I'm going to read it for you. The first question is by Mr. S.R. Nair, and he's made a statement and then the question comes. So he says that human beings, even by spirituality terms, is considered to be the highest living form. So how come he does not practice nishkama karma as is being done by all other lower forms of being, as explained by you? Isn't there a contradiction?
See, it's
Now,
like it's a final exam where I think it's a great question, quite frankly. It's a final exam where the examiner is trying to confuse the student. And we get them. So
Okay.
all these illusions of separateness, of short-term thinking, of the five senses, distracting us. All of these illusions happen in this human form. And we need to, beyond that, we need to transcend all this to achieve that ultimate goal.
Right. So there is a second part also of the question, which I'm
Yes.
reading for you.
Yes,
So
please.
he's saying that, so would it be fair to say that every live being has a self and therefore has selfishness? Why point out human beings alone? Is it because human beings invite trainers to preach us?
Well, obviously all beings are trying to survive, and therefore to that extent, yes, bears, for example, collect food for the winter. But otherwise, the kind of gathering, hunting and gathering, we used to be hunters and gatherers, and the kind of gathering that human beings are capable of. One man, Salarjan, collected enough to make a museum, and God bless his soul. So we collect far beyond our needs in this life.
Yeah.
So this is what, it's, so we learn and we learn and we learn. Hopefully each time that we come around, we learn more and progress. What we are seeing is one life. I'm seeing only this life of mine and this life of yours.
Yeah.
So we say that there is, we take nothing. Kya leke jana hai? The reality is not that. We take a lot when we leave. We take the entire record of our karmas. We take the, all our sanskaras, our vasanas. They all go with the soul to the next life.
Yeah.
This is why Lata Mangeshkar can start singing at this young age, and Adi Shankaracharya can do what he did at such a young age, because they came with that, that luggage.
Right.
So they've carried it from the previous lives.
And Parimal bhai, if I can just supplement to what you said.
Yes, right.
The reason to single out a human being is because it is only the human being which is endowed with, this power of discussion to do or not to do, or to do it differently. Other animals don't have the discussion. They are all programmed individuals.
We have been endowed with vivek, and that is why there is this expectation.
What we call Vivek Buddhi.
Yes.
Yeah. So the next question is, Mr. Gandhi, is by Mr. Trivedi. He's saying that one who does not jump in success and not saddened in failure, is it spirituality?
It's Sthita Prajnata, and that is a very important component of spirituality. Very beautifully described in this song from Hum Dono, मैं जिंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया.
That's right.
हर फिक्र को धुएं में उड़ाता चला गया.
चला गया.
And if I can remember the last lines of that song, गम और खुशी में फर्क ना महसूस हो जहां मैं खुद को उस मकाम पे लाता चला गया. You will not find a better definition of Sthitapajnata than in this song.
Right. Thank you.
I
Thanks a
don't
lot.
jump when I succeed, and I don't go down in the dumps when some unexpected incident occurs.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're most
So
welcome.
next question is by Mr. Akhil Bisrai, and he's asking that Parimal Bhai, beautiful and intense presentations. So he's asking, when people are measured on what they contribute and not how do we fit spirituality in this context?
I think it all begins with having a sit down with the management team. And more than anyone else in ISTD, I think Dr. Akhil Basra is very capable of doing this with the managements that he works with. And I'm sure they would give him a hearing, and even I would go so far as to say that they would obey. I'll use the word obedience. And therefore to say that, look, this is the way to go, folks. I mean, at the end of the day, look, what is the difference? Motivated and unmotivated. The motivated person is going to still work 10 hours, go home tired. The unmotivated person is also going to work 10 hours, go home tired. The issue is he going home just tired, or is he going home tired and satisfied?
Beautiful.
Right.
Very, very well said, Parimal Bhai. Very well said.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So another question is by Mr. Sanjay Deshpa, but he has not written the question. He wants to ask, himself, right? So, Mr. Sanjay, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, sir, your session was very soothing. First of all, it was a healer for our anxieties and worries. I must say you this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. One point which I beg to differ from you is
Yes.
about this Dvaita and Advaita.
Yes.
Sir, we are different actually. Take for instance, you are the trainer and we are the participants.
Yes.
In an office, the boss is different from an employee. The CEO is different from an employee. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was different from Krishna.
Absolutely.
Like you mentioned, Atma is different from Paramatma. We receive some energies, divine energy, and there is a force called God. So I believe that we are all different, and we always believe in a supreme being. So supreme being is always different from a human being. So I just wanted your clarification on this, because you mentioned about Nishkama Karma. I really like this concept. But in the business language, sir, there is this Contract Act 1872, which specifically mentions about quid pro quo. Something has to be in return.
Yes.
Something has to be in return. Only then you do a contract and you get some return back. Only then the contract gets fulfilled. So probably, how can we connect this, sir? There is some confusion.
Yes. This is wonderful. See, there is the law, there is religion, and there is spirituality. And the three may or may not talk to each other. But if you're backing a horse for a long race, I will back spirituality. So I'm spiritual, and everything else go out of the window. Of course, I should not lose my job in this process. Okay. Now, coming to Dvaita and Advaita, yes, of course. But we choose what we focus on. Therefore, when I say that I'm different from my boss, of course, yes, these are different positions that we have. Now, at a deeper level, we are the same. At the surface level, we are different. And we need to realize this and take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm talking about the higher power, supreme power.
Yes.
Oh, anyway, thank you, sir. I think there are many questions lined up. Thank you
No,
so
no, no.
much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
That is also
So
very,
there
very
two
Mr.
good.
Gandhi,
people. There's
Mr.
two
Gandhi,
people.
Yes.
may I try to answer this question on your behalf?
Please, please, please.
Yeah. No, since it's a profound question and very, very interesting. You know, it's like you said how people are different, and yet we talk about Advait. It is like water, you know, and then the water may be in a container, it could be in a bottle, it could be in a glass. So that is the concept, Aham Brahmasmi. We are part of that Brahman. We come to the world in different shapes and form based on our karmas. And this is, of course, the Hindu philosophy that, you know, the Karma Yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, that based on our karmas, you know, we come back to earth and
I
we
agree
take
with
birth
you.
and rebirth until we get salvation. So the
Ma'am, I
ultimate
agree
aim
with
of
you.
life, yeah.
I
So-
agree with you. But at your residence, don't you worship the God, which is a higher power, a supreme power? Don't you go to temple? Don't you worship? Don't you
I'll
worship?
give my remark towards then because I'm supposed to.
Let me intervene here.
Okay, okay. So let me take the next question, please.
Yeah.
The
Thank you
next
so much, sir.
question,
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Gandhi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.
The next question is by Kopal Jain, and she's saying that prioritizing Ananda over Sukh, right? Please
Good
elaborate and explain in terms of joy and pleasure. Prioritizing Anand over Sukh.
Yes.
Please elaborate and explain in terms of joy and pleasure. This is a question.
It's like this. When God decided to create the universe and decided to create human beings, was he in a good mood or a bad mood? Obviously, he must have been in a great mood, because it was an act of creation, right? We are all made of bliss. We are all made of bliss. That's the default state. You know, there are all these Swaminarayan mandirs everywhere, and there was Pramukh Swami Maharaj, an extremely wise, simple human being. I mean, I wouldn't even call him a human being, exalted being. And a friend of mine went up to him. He was very worried because he had all manner of difficulties. You get half a minute audience with Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He could ask one question. He asked one question. He says, I am in a lot of trouble. Babji, bahut dukh hota hai. What Babji said was, ऐसी चीजें मत करो जिससे आपको दुख हो. What an answer. It seems too simplistic, but it is so profound. So, it is we who are going out of our default state, collecting all this paraphernalia and feeling miserable over it. Now, let us say that I'm a motorcycle lover. I have all the cars and everything, but I've decided that in my life I want a Harley Davidson. I buy it. Am I happy? Yes, the answer is I'm very happy. Great. Some people are jealous that I bought a Harley Davidson. In the night they scratch it. Now what happens? Next morning I'm very unhappy. So possessions have the power to make you happy and the power to make you unhappy. Sukh and dukh are like a pendulum. ये इस तरफ गया, it is bound to go the other way. Okay. I'm not saying do not be happy. Enjoy, but don't get attached. Why am I unhappy? Because I got attached to the Harley Davidson. Now, what gives me bliss? When I understand what I am made to do. What was I created for? And this may take some trial and error. You may need to go through 10 different jobs. I did. Before I realized that training is what I want to do. That's the only thing I want to do. When the first cancer hit me is when I said I had less time in life. Fortunately, my calculation was wrong. And I said, training is what I want to do. I don't want to do all these other things. Let me get into training. I had no business plan, no nothing. But I had found my path. Today, I'm unable to retire because I love my work so much. So please find your calling. That is where bliss lies.
Sir, can I ask a question here?
Yes, sir. Welcome. Tell me.
Sir, as far as I know, we
Yes.
are all souls. We are all souls traveling this cosmos for n number of years, n number of
Yes.
births, and in the process we have hurt many souls, and we have either done good work or not so good work, and so
Yes.
we are now born in this life.
Yes.
Now, as I see your palm, I see a lot of strengths in your palm. So
Yes.
that means you must have done very good work in your past lives. So you are now destined by God to give us learning. I mean, learning, spread learning throughout this world. But all of us are not so lucky, I should say. So how to transform ourselves to that thought process so that we can also contribute positive things?
See, the reality is that we make our own luck or bad luck. So my past actions, my past karmas give me karma phal in the, when it is inexplicable. See, when past karmas come and give me karma phal in this life, okay, it is inexplicable to me. I am unable to understand why certain good things happen, why certain bad things don't happen. I am unable to understand. Okay, so when this occurs, we need to see whatever happens to us is karma. Now what I do is my future karma, which is going to result in karma phal. Call it luck, call it fate, call it naseeb. You can give it any term you like. All inexplicable events, happenstances are all karma. Now, I must have done a heck of a lot of bad things to be hit by cancer 4 times. And that is only part of the story. I've had 5 corneal transplants. I've had a cardiac bypass. I'm hypertensive. I'm diabetic. Man, I must have done some wrong things in my past lives. But at the same time, look at me. I've come out of all this unscathed. Every time that I have a problem in life, the solution comes walking in the form of some human being who has been set there to help me. That means I also did a lot of good karmas, and both are expressing themselves. Now, the way I see it, I have completed a lot of, taken care of a lot of my karmic balance in one life. I'm happy. I go to the next life lighter. So my friend, it is not lucky, unlucky. It's not that at all. Maybe you are not seeing your luck. It cannot be.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
परिमल जी,
Mr. Gandhi.
परिमल जी,
Yes.
परिमल का हिंदी में अर्थ होता है और संस्कृत में अर्थ होता है सुगंध फैलाने वाला। तो आपने, जैसा आपका नाम यथा नामो तथा गुणा, जैसा आपका नाम है वैसा आपने गुण दिखाया, आपने हम सब लोगों को सुगंधित किया। सुगंध का ये मतलब होता है कि बयार जिधर से जाती है वो कोई पक्षपात नहीं करती है कि इसके घर में अच्छी गंध दो, इस घर में खराब गंध दो। तो आपने सुगंध फैलाया, इसके हम लोग मैं भोपाल चैप्टर की तरफ से आपको हार्दिक धन्यवाद और कृतज्ञता देता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Devedi.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gandhi, एक और क्वेश्चन है, ये हमारी रश्मि भार्गव मैम है, उनका है क्वेश्चन ये, and she is asking that meditation can induce feeling of calmness, prayer is relaxation and gratitude. Then what is spirituality? When we can attain all these things from prayer and gratitude and maybe meditation, yeah, then what is spirituality?
See, spirituality is it's very interesting. They say that God is not something, is not a being that you can experience. Now, why can you not experience? Because you are limited by your five senses. So, if you want, let us say you want to measure temperature and you have a barometer, can't do it. With the existing five senses, which are the only inputs that the body has, you cannot experience God. You can't taste Him, you can't feel Him, you can't see Him. अब वो limitation आ गया. So how do you experience that ultimate reality? In meditation. That is why meditation is so important. Yoga is helpful in terms of preparing the body and the mind. So yoga is bringing together the body and the mind. Therefore, it is again, these are all practices which are helpful in taking us towards our goal. Rashmi, thank you for that question. Rashmi is my colleague at the board, professional accreditation and certification.
Yeah.
She is my co-chairperson.
Welcome, Rashmi.
We work together a lot. So thanks, Rashmi.
So this requires more deliberation.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hello.
We'll have part 2 also. Okay, so Mr. Gandhi, we are running short of time now. We just have about 8 minutes left.
Sure.
So one question very quickly, if you can very brief answer, is it correct to say that a sense of spiritual life is being a contributor and not a consumer?
Yes. Let's be net givers and not net takers.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And
All right.
Just a quick thing. All Western marketing will tell you that you are incomplete without whichever product. Therefore, you are a net taker. You have to take, you have to consume to be complete. Now, spirituality says you are complete and you have the capability and the capacity to give. So, Purnamada Purnamidam. You are Purna. You don't need anything to complete yourself. आप देने की पोजीशन में हो. Be a giver.
Right. Thank you so much. I think I really enjoyed listening to your word of wisdom. Thank you so much, Mr. Gandhi.
Pleasure.
And now I would Dr. Radha Sharma to, just summarize the key learnings. Over to you, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, Pratma ji. Good evening, everybody. I represent New Delhi Institute of Management, which has consistently been ranked by AICTE and CII as the best industry-linked institute. And it is among the 2 mentor institutes for the B schools. I'm sure you will all agree with me that it has been a very, very insightful session by Mr. Parimal Gandhi. And it has stimulated me to share a few thoughts of mine as well. We all know India is a cradle of spirituality, and spirituality is a part of everyone's life. It has over 5,000 years old living civilization and has enormous amount of ancient scriptures with wisdom, which is valid till date, and some of which has been shared by Mr. Gandhi in his presentation. A couple of questions were raised about spirituality and religion. So I would like to differentiate the two and clarify that it is not to be confused with religion, because religion focuses on dogmas and rules followed by a sect of people, whereas spirituality focuses on soul, which dwells within us. Now, a question was asked about yoga and meditation and how is the spirituality linked with that. In fact, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra has given 8 stages, and meditation is one of the stages which talks about. So you have to have a spiritual path to life in order to experience spirituality. And this is one of the methods of experiencing spirituality. As I said that I've been doing a lot of research, writing, guiding research and publishing in this area. So we can have another probably session to deliberate on this. But for the time being, since the focus of this session was on spirituality in learning and development, let me also share that we all have been taught since childhood that, the Satyam Vad Dharmam Char Swadhyay Ma Pramad, which means that we speak the truth, lead righteous life, and self-introspect. And this is a quote from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, shloka 25. There are a couple of learnings, from various scriptures. As from childhood we move to adolescence and adulthood, then there is again a kind of a lesson for us given by Manu Smriti, which is another ancient text written by Manu 1800 years ago. And it has given 10 values which are expected to be followed by a person who is responsible and self-disciplined. And it goes like this. This is Manu Smriti, Adhyaya 6 and Shloka 92. It says, Dhriti Chhama Damostyam Shauch Indre Nigraha Dhir Vidya Satyam Akrodho Dashkam Dharma Lakshanam, which means that a person has to have these 10 virtues and attributes in order to be called a person who is following dharma. Means discipline. Dharma means a responsibility. So what are these? Patience, forgiveness, self-control, lack of greed, purity, self-discipline, vivek or discretion, knowledge, truthfulness, and not losing temper. And the last one, which again is very important to all of us, is from Vedanta, and which we are all pursuing in our life. According to Vedanta, they have Vedanta is the Anta of Veda. That's why it's called Vedanta. So they have provided a holistic, value-based approach to pursue goals of life, which are called Purushartha. And these 4 Purushartha that we all follow and pursue in different forms and different degrees. These are Dharma, Arth, Kam, and Moksha. Again, Dharma here is not religion, but it is basically doing our duty, following ethics, following a spiritual path, and cosmic order. We also have our Swadharma, that we have responsibility towards our fellow beings, towards our family members, towards our colleagues. And if we all follow our Swadharma, then there won't be chaos in the society. A couple of questions which were raised by a couple of participants, that why people are treated differently, why there is discrimination and things of this kind. If everybody follows this principle of dharma, which is Swadharma, and works according to the ethical way of dealing with people and processes, then there won't be any problem. Earth, which is acquisition of wealth and power. In fact, there is nothing wrong with that. And Mr. Gandhi also talked about it. But when the wealth is acquired through ethical means, then that is worthwhile. So again, we know a lot of problems in the society. These are there because people are trying to acquire wealth, through unethical means. Then calm is fulfillment of one's desire, which is again, someone asked question about sukha and santosh or sukha, or some question of this kind was there. So one is long term, the other one is short term. You can have a quick pleasure, but then you won't have satisfaction. So if you want happiness in life, then the pursuit of happiness has to be regulated by dharma. Again, by discipline, by rules, regulations, norms, and so on. And moksha, which is the last Purusharth provided by Vedanta, is that inner realization. And Mr. Gandhi brought it out very eloquently. He said that he wants to be a trainer, and that is the path he has chosen, and that is the path which is taking him to the ultimate, realization of his, um, uh, talent, or his, desire, or his dream. And this is what it is. So he is on that path which he has chosen for oneself. And what in management, literature, we talk about self-actualization, which Maslow has talked about, the hierarchy of needs. So moksha, what is self-actualization in the materialistic word, in the Hindu philosophy, in the ancient scriptures, they talk about moksha, where you pursue your passion, and try to realize your inner self. So this is what briefly, I was tempted to share. And when the person pursues or moksha, then person experiences oneness with the supreme, oneness with work. What we say in our modern word, we say employee engagement, work engagement. And in fact, this is not that. In fact, this goes beyond that. And what positive psychology talks about is the experience of flow. So when you have the experience of flow, you are totally immersed in your work. That time you don't feel tired, you don't have any such pain or difficulty or any kind of a thing, because you're so much immersed in your work. So Advait, that he talked about, of course, Advait Vedanta, that of course is very deep, but we can use some of the principles given in our ancient scriptures in our life in a modified form. So coming to the summary of this session, which was very, very insightful and intense, he started with the question, does spirituality have a place in corporate training? And 97% of people, they said, yes, it has. Then another interesting remark that he made was that he's not talking about spirituality in management or in learning, but he said spirituality is learning. And this is what was the last point I was making in my remarks. Then he talked about his own understanding of spirituality. And according to him, spirituality is the search for the ultimate truth. He also highlighted the importance of a guru, and he quoted two quotes. One where he talked about Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. And he also quoted Kabir, where he says that Guru Govindu Khade Kake Lagu Paye, Balihari Guru Apno Tune Kyo Bataye. Then he talked about the problems in the society in the form of extremism, extinction of some species, conflict, and road rage. And he said all these problems are due to lack of spiritual knowledge in the society. So he was highlighting the importance of spirituality in our day-to-day life. And he also made a remark that we are not human beings having a spirituality, but we are spiritual beings having human experience. And this is exactly what our philosophy is all about, that there is no duality. We are part of the Supreme. We come to this earth to based on our karma, and once we are able to do good deeds and we have got over our sins or whatever problems, then we immerse in our in the Supreme Being, whatever the Supreme Being. So then he talked about who is a spiritual teacher, and he gave a couple of characteristics of a spiritual teacher who gives priority to eternal over transient, who connects all work to Atma and Paramatma, and who sees life sattvic. So this is what, again, emphasizing the value of ethics, or highlighting the importance of values in life. He also talked about the 3 types of karma, Vikam karma, Sakam karma, Nishkam karma, which is very much given in Bhagavad Gita. Well, I love Bhagavad Gita for various reasons. Insights it has got for everyone. Then he talked about, he briefly referred to Advait. Well, I would have a bit of difference of opinion, because the Advait that is being talked about in our ancient scriptures would be quite difficult to implement. But nevertheless, one can always, adapt it and use it in the context to align oneself with the organization or the organizational goals. He talked about the ego of the trainer, and there is no place for ego for a trainer or in teamwork. He focused on learning and development and CSR, and obviously money is a means and not an end in themselves. And then he gave a few tips about how to include spirituality in training, and some of these tips were linked with our normal organizational processes that begin, of course, starting the day with prayers. That is, of course, a personal suggestion, but could also be organizational, because if the organizations are secular, there could be problems with that. But other suggestions can be adopted by organizations, where he said that the vision, mission, and values of the companies could be of a lasting nature and not of short-term nature. We have seen all this during this pandemic, when we saw lots of workers on the road. You can well imagine these workers belong to organizations, and organizations had got their vision, mission. And if these people were helpless, without shelter, without food, and without any salary, one can well imagine how much spirituality was in place at those organizations. He talked about setting hard and soft goals. And that is not to say that every organization behaved like that. There were many organizations which came out and did Nishkam Karma, right? This is exactly what they did. And they tried to help all these people, many individuals, they came out and, did a lot of charity, social work. They gave part of their salary. And this is exactly what is needed when people are in trouble. People are, any individual could be in trouble, any organization could be in trouble. And India has really exemplified its, its scriptures, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that Mahaupnishad Shloka. So India has developed vaccine, and has provided vaccine free of cost to many parts of the world. So this is what it is, because the whole world is a family, and we are doing these things not for money, not for profit, but we are doing it because we want to save lives of people. And our Corona warriors have done this. So we see many examples of this in our day-to-day life. We probably don't appreciate it, but people have gone beyond their call of duty and have displayed spirituality in their profession, in their work. And this is what
Thank
he
you
said.
very much, Dr. Sharma.
It should be part
Thanks a lot.
of the calendar. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and it was a wonderful session. Today I had taken COVID vaccine, and I was not sure whether I'll be able to summarize it as Dr. Pratima ji, but I think
you've
the
done
faith
a
in spirituality which
wonderful
helps
job.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
That's right. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you very much. So now, every good thing must end also. So now I request Alok Goyal to
Yeah. Good evening, one and all. Yeah, ma'am, I am audible.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Good evening.
Yes, you are. You're audible.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. respected Professor Radha ma'am, respected Pratima Kaushal ma'am, ISTD Delhi chapter chairman Shri Mukesh Jain sir, our MC members, NC members, and our esteemed resource person, today's resource person, Shri Parimal Gandhi sir, and all the ISTD members and L&D fraternity members who participated in today's program. At the outset, I feel privileged to take the opportunity for presenting this vote of thanks on behalf of ISTD Delhi chapter to Shri Parimal Gandhi sir. Sir, we convey our gratitude and thanks to you for sparing your valuable time and sharing your rich experience on the topic spirituality in learning and development, which is the need of the hour in present day life. And this calls for special thanks to our today's resource person and also the organizing team to organize such insightful session on Friday evening so that we can further cherish these thoughts and ponder on the words of wisdom shared by our esteemed faculty Gandhi sir, and further introspect, brainstorm and share with our family members and friends on leisurely on Saturday and Sunday. So it's an added advantage. And at the end, I would like to say Sukh and Dukh are like pendulum, the great message as a takeaway, and in addition to many other takeaway messages. And on behalf of ISTD Delhi chapter, we convey our thanks to all the esteemed members for their active participation and making the event successful. And also many thanks to the organizing team, coordinator Pratima Sharma ma'am, led by Shri Mukesh Jain sir, Mr. Ajay Kumar Sahu, Honorable Secretary, and other team members, and all the actually I prepared a list and I was waiting for, and I know that time is very short, but even I want to cite some name whom with I am very much familiar. Dr. B.K. Rastogi, Dr. Akhil Bhusrai, Sunil Abrol sir, Kaushal sir, and all the senior ISTD members and fellow colleagues. Thank you for making this event successful. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So now I would like to next week. Alo, can you put slide, please? Okay, so I'll just share it with you. So next Friday we are having another evening talk, and
See, you got disconnected. See,
you know, our
Hello?
next program is on 26th of March at 6 p.m. Dr. S.K. Acharya, former CMD, Naivalli Lignite, will be the speaker. So please join us.
Thank you, Mukesh ji. I take your leave.
Thank you, Parimil bhai. It was a wonderful, wonderful program. Thank you very much for coming to Delhi chapter and enlightened, more than 300 participants, and we'll share your video to all our associates, all our members, all our associates. It was a
Okay, Parimal
wonderful
bhai.
session.
Thank you very much, Parimal bhai. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Good
everybody.
night. Good night,
Thanks a lot.
everybody. Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.